In the shadowed corridors of ancient Greece, where gods reigned supreme and mortals cowered beneath their might, there existed a tale of beauty, betrayal, and divine retribution. It was the tale of Medusa, one of the most tragic figures in Greek mythology, whose fate was twisted by the capricious will of the gods. This is a story of power, vengeance, and an injustice so profound that its echoes still whisper through time. Prepare to step into the world of myths and legends, where temples held secrets and the gods played with the fates of men and women alike. Medusa was no monster, not at first. She was once a mortal of breathtaking beauty, a priestess of Athena, devoted to the goddess of wisdom and war. Her golden hair cascaded in waves, framing a face so divine that men and gods alike turned their heads in awe. But Medusa was not vain. She remained humble, dedicating her life to the service of Athena within the sacred temple in Athens. Her life was one of reverence and piety, her days spent tending the flame of wisdom and guiding those who sought Athena's favor. She had taken the vow of chastity, for it was known that priestesses of Athena must remain pure, untainted by the desires of men. Yet fate had other plans for Medusa. Among those who admired her beauty was Poseidon, the mighty god of the seas. With eyes that burned like the depths of the ocean and a will as unrelenting as the tides, Poseidon set his sights on Medusa. He was a god not accustomed to denial, a force of nature that took what he desired. One fateful night, as a storm raged across the heavens, Poseidon descended upon Athena's temple. The air was thick with the scent of brine, the very foundations of the sacred sanctuary trembling under his godly presence. Medusa, unaware of the storm brewing within the heart of the sea god, knelt before the altar, her prayers rising like whispers to the heavens. But her devotion would not shield her. Poseidon, driven by an insatiable hunger, found her in the temple's inner sanctum. The sacred walls that should have protected her bore silent witness to the violation that unfolded. Medusa cried out, not just for herself, but for Athena, for justice, for salvation. But the gods, in their celestial halls, remained silent. Not even Athena, the goddess she had served with unwavering faith, came to her aid. The act was done, and Poseidon vanished as suddenly as he had come, leaving behind shattered faith and a desecrated temple. The air felt heavy, thick with an ominous presence. And then, in the wake of that terrible night, Athena arrived. Athena, with eyes as cold as the steel of her spear, stood before Medusa. The great goddess had seen all, had known all, and yet what she offered was not solace, not justice, but judgment. "You have defiled my temple," Athena's voice echoed like a war cry. "You have brought disgrace upon the sacred halls." Medusa, trembling, fell to her knees. "I did not choose this fate," she pleaded, her voice broken like the waves against jagged rocks. "It was Poseidon who—" "Silence!" Athena's command cut through the air like a blade. "Your purity is lost, and with it, your right to walk among mortals." Tears streamed down Medusa's face, but there was no mercy in Athena's gaze. Instead, the goddess stretched out her hand, and as the divine words of transformation were spoken, a terrible pain racked Medusa's body. Her golden locks darkened, twisting and writhing like living things. The silken strands turned to serpents, their hissing voices a chorus of eternal torment. Her skin grew hard like stone, her nails sharp as daggers. But the worst of all was her gaze. Once her eyes had captivated the hearts of men. Now they were cursed. Any who met them would turn to stone, forever trapped in the moment of their final breath. Medusa screamed, not in rage, but in sorrow. She had been wronged, and yet it was she who bore the punishment. Cast out from society, Medusa fled to the edges of the world, to the forsaken lands where no man dared tread. She became the creature of nightmares, the Gorgon, a name spoken in hushed whispers. Yet she was no monster of her own making. She was a victim, twisted by divine wrath, condemned to solitude. The years passed, and stories of the monstrous woman with serpentine hair spread across Greece. Warriors sought to slay her, seeking the glory that came with defeating a Gorgon, but none returned. Their statues littered the island, silent sentinels to her pain. Yet Medusa never sought vengeance. She did not hunt mortals nor revel in their fear. She only wished to be left alone, to mourn the life that had been stolen from her. But the gods were not finished with her tale. Far away in the kingdom of Seriphos, a hero was rising. Perseus, son of Zeus and Danae, was given an impossible task by King Polydectes to retrieve the head of Medusa. Armed with gifts from the gods, a mirrored shield from Athena, winged sandals from Hermes, and a blade from Hephaestus, Perseus set forth on his fateful journey. When he found Medusa's lair, he did not meet a raging beast, but a woman weary of life. She did not fight him, for there was nothing left to fight for. Using the reflection of his shield, Perseus severed her head with a single strike, and from her blood sprang Pegasus, the winged horse, and Chrysaor, the golden warrior, proof that even in death, Medusa's legacy endured. Perseus carried Medusa's head as a weapon, her gaze still as deadly in death as it was in life. He used it to turn his enemies to stone, and ultimately gifted it to Athena, who placed it upon her shield, the Aegis, as a symbol of power. But what of Medusa's story? Was she truly the monster they claimed her to be, or was she a victim of the gods' whims? Her name became legend, yet her truth was lost to time, a reminder that even the gods were not always just, and that sometimes the greatest tragedies are written by those who wield divine power without mercy. And so the tale of Medusa endures, whispered in the night, a tragic echo of a woman wronged, a beauty turned to sorrow, and a victim cursed to be the villain of her own story.